Oh boy. Oh golly gee. Oh wow. What another wonderful day of the Cologne Major. Let me just check HLTV real quick to see if anything happened to any of my baby boy North American teams. NRG did what?
NRG did what?
In a 2-2 game to qualify for the next stage of the major. You're in map 3 and you go up 12-0. 12-0. 12-0. That is quite literally impossible to lose that fucking game, bro. I have a lot to say, as you might expect. I assume everyone's gonna come out with a video talking about this because how can you not? It is the worst choke ever at a Counter-Strike major. Like I said, this shit should quite literally be impossible. I saw Vu already released a video. I'm sure there will be another white boy with a middle part who will be releasing a video on this at some point, but I just can't not talk about this. I have to. But I think what I will do is go at it from a bit of a different perspective than maybe what everyone else is going at it from, because while this is an impossible choke, and while I think there is a lot to talk about just specifically regarding this game and how it went, I think there's a narrative that I'm not happy about doing and I'm gonna have to start pushing. This video is gonna be centered around one man in particular because he truly has one of the most tragic resumes in Counter-Strike history, and I would say that you can even argue that maybe he is surpassing Nico at this point. Yeah, there's no question about it anymore, fellas. It's easily Nitro now. Nico video this weekend, early next week, by the way, for being the worst choker in Counter-Strike's history. And well, his career starts back in 2013, where he played ESEA Season 13 with a team named Mobility Gaming. This team included Nitro, Davey, Omaraloff, N2G, and Donnie. This would be his only listed tournament this year, as he was kind of stuck in the depths of Tier 8 NA still, eventually making his way to teams like Area 51 Gaming, Denial, and even iBuyPower, where he played in his first major at DreamHack Winter 2014. And then at the start of 2015, he would make his way onto Team Liquid. This is when the legacy of Nitro would really begin, and when the choking really began as well. Follically challenged Garmour speaking. Guys, if you would like to support me and the stuff I do here, check out the new long-term sponsor of the Garmour YouTube channel, SkinSwap. SkinSwap is the #1 place to trade your Rust or Counter-Strike skins for new ones where you can instantly upgrade your inventory. And if you use my code Garmour, you can get up to $50 on a free skin and a 3% lifetime selling bonus. And now you can also easily buy skins off the Chinese marketplace for cheaper prices than you ever could on the Western marketplaces. I truly think this is the best feature on any skin trading website, but if you are looking to sell, you can sell your skins for crypto, PayPal, Venmo, and a bunch of other withdrawal methods. Along with this, SkinSwap has a vault system now, which makes it the most rewarding skin trading website. And of course, don't forget the giveaways. And I think that's it. Thank you to them, thank you to you guys, and back to the video. Now in 2015, our first warning sign would be at EPL Season 1 in a match where Cloud9 and Liquid were playing on Overpass. And on Overpass, Liquid would go up 12-3 before winning a total of 1 of the next 14 rounds, ending the game 16-13. Hey man, at least they got 1 T round.
Good, honestly. After Nuke, I thought we were gonna win for sure, and obviously we're up 12-0. I had a joke at halftime. Honestly, I was like, all right guys, all we need is win one round. And
now following this game later in 2016, the organization of Liquid itself was beginning to kind of be known as a choking organization. On the Dota Reddit, an image was posted, "Ask, are you choking? This is the universal choking sign," with a picture of Team Liquid. And I don't know exactly when this image started popping up, but the first one I could see with a date was May 11th, 2016, where you have the classic Liquid logo, but instead of the horse, it's a guy choking. And well, a large part to this image being created is the major that had happened a month prior, MLG Major Columbus 2016. I'm sure you guys are all aware of this, okay? It's been spoken about 3 trillion times. Liquid, now with Simple in the roster, have somehow made a generational run to the Columbus semifinals. Without a doubt, the team's best result at a major yet. And this is when the worst choke in Counter-Strike major history would occur, as Liquid would go up 15-9 on Mirage, get cold Zerud.
Here he comes once again. The first base is a Dren. He's going to hit the ground there as Cold. Oh, what? A jumping double from Cold. What is going on right now? How does he do this? This is for everything. This is for the map right now. Hiko making his way around the smoke. The spammer, he will spot Taco, but that's it. Luminosity with
And then the map after that go up 15-6 on Cash, and once again choke the game, going to overtime and losing. This is when, of course, the all the liquid choking stuff would start popping up. And well, at least at this point, Nitro was kind of avoiding some of the blame because it was Team Liquid. Simple can also be looked at as a choker during this time period. It wasn't just all on Nitro. Then shortly after this game, at EPL Season 3 Finals, Liquid would be playing NIP. At this point, Simple is no longer on the roster. Well, at least he wasn't for this game in this event, I think. He did come back a little bit later. But anyways, Liquid go up 13-2 on Dust. They then win only 2 rounds on their T side, going to overtime and losing in double OT. And at this point, you might be starting to notice something. Sure, Liquid is having some brutal chokes. And at this point, it's not like anyone was really surprised. But there was one thing in common with all of them. Every single time Liquid choked, it was after they switched over to the T side. For some reason, they could play incredibly well on the CT side, and as soon as they switch over, their T sides were just kind of doo-doo, okay? They were poopy. And my god, we had no clue the foreshadowing that this would give us. Anyways, let's skip a little bit and get to the really fun part of the Liquid time and the Nitro time in Liquid. 2019, where Liquid were quite literally one of the most dominant teams we had ever seen, winning the fastest Intel Grand Slam in Counter-Strike history. But before they went on this incredible run, we would have another classic Liquid choke, this time at the IEM Katowice 2019 major playoffs, where in the quarters, Liquid were the number 2 ranked team in the world and ENCE were the number 9 ranked team in the world. It wouldn't be an easy game by any stretch, but Liquid were favored here. And after losing map 1, Liquid would start map 2 on Inferno, up 15-8. And even better, they were on the CT side. Listen guys, Liquid at least are on the CT side now. We wouldn't have a T side choke. But despite this, they would go on to lose 7 rounds in a row and then lose the game in overtime to fall to ENCE 0-2 in the quarters. But like, that's fine because like I said, after this we get the goated Liquid era. Well, Liquid era, it was that shit lasted about 2 months total. And then we of course get Liquid at the Berlin Major, where Astralis would pick Vertigo against them, and the entirety of Team Liquid would look completely shocked that this happened. And while the hottest team in all of Counter-Strike would then once again go out in the quarters, completely fall off after that, losing to Astralis again in the semis at New York, losing a 12-3 lead against a Greyhound at the next event to bomb out in damn near last place. And then that kind of closes the chapter in the Liquid era. They finished off the year very strong even still, but then eventually COVID hit, Nitro went over to Valorant. When he came back to Liquid, they weren't too bad, but they weren't like as good as they were before. They did make the finals of some S-tier tournaments, but didn't win any. And then we get to the NRG arc of Nitro's career. The Team Liquid era was good at some points, still horrific chokes, the worst choke in Counter-Strike major history at Columbus, but I guess Nitro wanted to one-up himself. We'll start first at the Blast Austin Major after NRG started up 2-1, where they then got blown out by OG, who were a fine team, but they were ranked lower than NRG were at the time. And then after this, we get NRG versus Lin Vision. And if you guys were watching the Dust 2 game with NRG and Lin Vision, it was quite literally one of the worst games I've ever watched with my own 2 eyes. You can play multiple rounds in this game where it just looks like NRG were literally pulling an iBuyPower. They wanted to lose the series. Of course, they were up 12-8 and lose 4 rounds in a row to go to OT here. They then come back in overtime after being down 12-15 to then go up 18-15, only needing 1 round. They, of course, can't win a single T round and then eventually lose 22-20 and crumble on the next map of Inferno. And so while if you watch this game, you definitely were left thinking NRG fully choked this 2-2 series. On a normal day, you would think they could probably beat this Lin Vision because Lin Vision did not look good in this series. NRG just looked like they didn't want to win. And while at Budapest, of course, Nitro was not there, but then we get to the Cologne Major. You thought the 2-2 game against Lin Vision was bad. Oh my god. NRG versus Big, what you've all been waiting for. Dust 2 is a blowout for Big. They win 13-5. Nuke is a close match between NRG and Big, where NRG win in overtime 16-12. And then we get Mirage. Round after round after round, NRG are on goddamn fire. They can't lose anything. They play so well. They go up 12-0. And then at halftime, Grim makes a funny little joke. Guys, we just need 1 more round. I don't think it's very funny, Grim. Now, you might be having flashbacks at this point to Liquid and Luminosity because Energy are switching over to the T side. And at this point, oh baby, we know Nitro does not like the T side of Counter-Strike. Big dominate in the pistol and the follow-up, but then it looks like Energy can finally close the game, up 12-2. They have a 2v1 post plant against Favin, and then this happens. 2 HP. Yep, 2 HP was the difference here. They win this round. That's followed up by blowout round after blowout round. I mean, these CT rounds for Big really did not seem close at all. Then we get a pivotal half-buy round where Energy break into B site, and it is a 2v2 between Sonic and OC and Blame F and Tabson. Tabson, who hasn't been playing great, is currently second to bottom for Big, and then just look at what this brother does to them. Fucking lasers, not an ounce of reaction to that play. All of Big was diabolically locked in at this point. And I mean, that Favin 1v2 and this Tabson 1v2 really were like the closest rounds in this entire half, because we get more incredibly dominant rounds for Big following this. And well, this is when Energy start to sweat. I mean, they had to have been drenched in sweat at this point, because a 12-0 lead has all of a sudden out of nowhere turned into a 12-10 lead. It feels like it just flew by, and that's because besides those two 1v2s, it really did. Energy's T-side game plan was not working in the slightest. They weren't trading, they weren't really taking bomb sites, they weren't really doing anything. They were just getting picked apart no matter where they went. And so we get to the almighty final round, 12-11. We are on the precipice of the worst choke in Counter-Strike Major history. Never has a 12-0 lead ever been lost. This is when Blame F rails Sonic through a wall. Tabson takes space on ramp and gets one and dies. And the rest of Energy gets picked apart one by one until an 11 HP Grim is left in a 1v4, and he has literally no chance. And I just want to say, look at the reactions on the Big side when they hit overtime here. Staying locked in after coming back from down 12-0 is so impressive. Of course, JDC is hyped up, but most of the players on the team here are stone cold. They have no reaction, and that's because they know that the work isn't done yet. And well, would you believe it? The rounds in overtime go very, very similarly to the rounds in regular time. Big is destroying them, okay? Energy is getting literally nothing on this T side. Not a single goddamn round is even close. This is when a couple of the players start to get a couple smiles on their face, because at this point they know. Now, the final round of overtime is kind of close. It's a 2v2 post plan, but I mean, Big are so locked in at this point. Favin easily cleans up both of them. And well, this is where we get the most magical part of the entire video, because I've been building up Nitro this entire time as maybe the worst choker in Counter-Strike history, but he hasn't had like any big individual moments. He hasn't had that Nico Deagle whiff on top of Hut. Like, sure, you know, is it a coincidence that he was on the worst choke in Major history and now is making history as being in the new worst choke in Counter-Strike Major history? Probably not. You know, he also is the one calling the T side where they got 0 rounds. But in his defense, he's top fragging for the team. He is at least individually playing very well. And this is when we get the moment for Nitro in B apps. Truly the most beautiful way this could have ended off. I mean, there is no better way to really close the chapter on this Nitro choking book than this. And I mean, maybe it's not even closed. Maybe he outdoes himself again. I don't think it's possible. I'll be honest here, fellas. I don't think it's possible to do worse than a 12-0 lead. I will say, though, I do feel very bad for him, especially when you see, you know, the interview with Grim, and then you see the Nitro clip where he says, maybe I am the problem.
Maybe I am the problem after all.
That to me is absolutely heartbreaking. And I mean, it just adds to Nitro's story as, in my opinion, being one of the most heartbreaking, if not the most heartbreaking resumes in all of Counter-Strike. If you guys think Nitro is the worst choker in Counter-Strike history, let me know down below. And I'm not gonna lie to you fellas, I know NRG is an NA team. Normally I glaze NA teams. I do like NRG, but I felt euphoric watching this series because I needed Big to save my pick'ems. It took the greatest comeback in Counter-Strike history to save my goddamn pick'ems. I mean, that's how cooked I am at this point. But yeah, anyways, that's it for me today, fellas. Like the video if you liked, subscribing if you want to subscribe, turn on notifications if you want to be notified, and I will see you guys next time.